Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode on deck. Took about a week, maybe a week and a half off after the draft was needed a little break. We had the All Star break, so we're back from the All Star break and ready to get back on Russ Morgan uh, here on FTSN. Uh, Going to be talking just this week in baseball. Obviously, we've had some trade deadline news already. Gonna have some upcoming news. See what to talk about. What I think some teams are going to be buyers and sellers. What they're going to do, especially with the extra wild card. So a lot more teams will be active. I think makes more teams active at least. But starting off, definitely had some news. Starting off, what was it? Wednesday night. Mariners started off the trade deadline, traded for D-backs, first baseman Josh Naylor. They received Braden Garcia and Ashton Izzy. Naylor fills an everyday hole for the Mariners, 292, 360 on base, 477 slugging, 11 home runs, 13th lowest strikeout rate among qualifying hitters. Definitely an upgrade over Luke Raley. Also lengthens their bench, putting Raley on the bench, so that's good for a playoff run. As right now, their Mariners right now are 4 back of the Astros, 5-5. They're 56 and 50, 5-5 in the last 10. Mariners are right now tied for the third wild card spot with Texas. I mean, I think that's a solid move. He's a solid defensive first baseman. Fits in that middle of the lineup. He's got good contact ability. It's a nice addition. They should also, Mariners also probably will be in that Suarez market. He was with the Mariners at one point. I could see that happening. Mariners definitely have Seattle's got a farm system that might be able to land him too. With them maybe a top 5 prospect in their system to headline it, to headline the deal, because you're not going to give away, your one or. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. You're not going to give away your top 3 prospects for a rental, but you got. Michael Arroyo might be a name. His Double-A guy might be ready next year, second and short. Ryan Sloan. Was it Girigolo? I don't know how to say his last name. He's a righty-lefty. Was drafted last year out of Mississippi State, so he pitches from both sides. 2027, but I think they'll be active in that market, especially with Suarez, as they're trying to add more pop to that lineup. A big hitter-friendly park. I want to know what they do with Henry Ford, who's also, Ford's a guy ready for the big leagues, but is blocked because of Cal Raleigh. What's up, Josh? How we doing today? Yeah, it wasn't a good series for us. We're not playing good. Probably could have took Friday, blew that. Yesterday we were right there. It was bad. Today they finally played good game from McMahon. I was still worried once it was like 4-3. The bullpen can't hold anything, so I was a little worried. But we got trade deadlines on Thursday. I think it's at 1 p.m. Eastern. Josh? Where are you looking? I'm thinking Phillies. Outfield, obviously pitching is going to be there. There's a couple good names on the outfield, but on the market for outfielders. But for me, I think the Phillies need to identify center field position for the Phillies, which has kind of been a question mark with Marsh and not Rojas. who's the name's slipping. Who's their other center fielder? Marsh and Rojas. I was correct. I mean, I think center field's at a position they got to identify for them with center field. I mean, Cedric Mullins probably would be the best option for the Phillies. I think Phillies need to make a trade. Phillies get Mason Miller and O'Neill. I've seen that name. O'Neill Cruz is getting there. Gets Aiden Miller. I think, you're really doing it. You're really going deep on there. I've seen the O'Neill Cruz, his name being floated out there. I just don't know. I mean, what the Phillies would have to give up for. All right, so A's. Mason Miller, O'Neill Cruz. Pirates would get Aiden Miller. I mean, I think the A's would say yes. If you would, I mean, I don't know much about Aiden Miller or the catcher. Let me do. I'm gonna pull up their prospect rankings right now. Philadelphia. I mean, I'd say yes on both parts, especially where the Phillies are. I mean, the Pirates are going. I mean, if you get a top Aiden Miller, the number 2 shortstop prospect, he's ready next year. They've needed a shortstop in that team for a while since they moved O'Neill Cruz. You definitely need a catcher. I would say that. I would do that 100% if I was the A's. Getting Mick Abel would just be I prefer to move off of Marsh than Rojas. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I think that A's one for the A's would be lopsided. I don't think you want to get. I mean, I know you would get a Mason Miller for the Phillies. That'd be a solid deal. But I don't know if you would want to give up Mick Abel. I think Mick Abel's that future. I think the A's would do that in a heartbeat. I mean, yes, Miller's under contract and definitely has some service time still. But I mean, I think Mick Abel's a future in that rotation with Painter. So I don't know if I'd want to do that. I think there's other guys on there. Maybe you go to Santana with Pittsburgh. Maybe you go with maybe you try to get Estevez back from Kansas City. Bendar from Pittsburgh too. Yeah. I just he's going to be ready. He's ready. He's already shown he's ready to pitch in the big leagues. I think that'd be a win for the A's, as they need. Obviously, they have some solid players. Obviously, we saw Nick Kurtz the other day go 6 for 6 with 4 home runs and 19 total bases. But I think that'd be a big win for the Athletics moving to Las Vegas whenever that happens. But I mean, there's names. There's names. I'd rather go. I mean, you could go Emmanuel Clase, who's still one of the better closers in the game, having a down year from last year. But yeah, 3 years of control. You could go Clase. You could go Bendar. You could go. Who's the guy with? Why am I dropping that name? But I mean, I agree with you. I think the one thing I think of the Phillies window is closing and closing fast. So, I mean, you just got to do what you got to do to add to this team, because that the window of the Phillies to win a World Series is closing and closing quick. So I think they got to make it happen. But I mean, I think center field is definitely an area of need. If they go Mullins, if O'Neill Cruz, who looks like he's available, I don't think Luis Roberts Jr. gets moved because he's having such a down year. So I don't know where they go, but there's a couple names. Alex Garcia's available, but I don't think the Phillies need him, and he won't play center field, obviously. But I think Mullins and Cruz would probably be the number one options for them. But you're going to have, O'Neill Cruz definitely has some service time available, years of control. So let's, I agree with you. I think the time is now for the Phillies. Marsh is batting 249, Rojas 233. So on the other trade deadline news, we did have a couple news. Crawford's a name that could be moved around too. I remember seeing Crawford, Justin Crawford, his freshman year. He played sophomore, junior year at Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, but his freshman year was at a small prep high school in Southern California with the lowest level of baseball. And the speed on that kid was, as a freshman, obviously, son of former big league outfielder Carl Crawford. Obviously, known with the Rays, known with the Red Sox, played with the Dodgers. But I think they got to make that move definitely for an outfielder and try to get an arm. On the Yankees, Yankees finally make a move and get third baseman Ryan McMahon from the Rockies. They exchanged Griffin Herring and Josh Gross. Suarez definitely seemed like the top option. But I'm happy with McMahon. Defensively, it's a massive upgrade of what you would have been getting with Suarez. Ranks in the 91st percentile of outs above average. Dude, he's got a cannon. His defense, going back for the Yankees, I don't think we've had and I ragged on A-Rod a lot. It was probably because A-Rod played very poor in some of the playoff series. He did have a great 09 series against, 09 playoffs, and definitely played massive, winning that World Series against Philadelphia that year. And that was a really good series because Philadelphia had some really good, you had the rest in peace, Roy Halladay. You had Cliff Lee. I ragged on him a lot, but that third base for the Yankees has never really been solidified since he left. It's been a revolving door, and definitely this year you couldn't do that. McMahon, we saw his defensive his defense this week. If his back can, pick up, he had a solid game today. Let's see what did he do today. I think he was 2 for 3. 2 for 3 today, 2 RBIs. It's just a big defensive upgrade. And yes, he was batting 217 coming in. And his K rate's high, but he's up to 222 after 2 for 3 today. You got to think. I don't know either. I don't know. You got to think he's gonna be in a better lineup. The bat will be able to figure it out, and on a winning team competing. But still got to make some moves for the Yankees. Still a lot of for a team that went to the World Series last year. A lot of holes. Aaron Judge now just went down on the IL. I was worried when it was 4-3. I was worried. I had no faith in that bullpen. No faith in that bullpen. Yankees also added Nationals utility man Edmed Rosario. They gave up Clayton Beeter and Braun Martinez. Rosario will be a valuable piece for the Yankees. He can play all over the field, play third against the lefties. Maybe they can give Volpe a breather here and there, which he could use. I liked it. Rosario was my number one option. I liked when I as a a baseball fan, but a Yankees fan, I would have rather had a defensive third baseman, preferably my defensive, a solid defensive third baseman with good good to below average offense. But a Rosario is batting 270, so I mean I think that's a big hole. So I think adding both those guys is huge because I could go on a Yankees rant forever. Uh, but going into the AL East, and the AL is definitely taking a little hit. But the one team playing really good in the AL right now is the Toronto Blue Jays, 63-43. Did lose today, but they're 6 games up on the Yankees. Actually, I got to check the standings, see what it is in the loss column because 6 games up on the Yankees. But playing really good right now. Springer's playing really good, trying to get these standings up. Yes. Five games up. They say 5.5, but that's 5. But I mean, playing really good. You're getting some solid pitching from on their side, and that offense is looking solid. When I look at the Blue Jays, my biggest question mark going in for the Blue Jays was that third base position, and you're getting really solid third base defense and offense from Ernie Clement and Addison Barger. Clement's 278, Barner's 268. So I mean that was my biggest question for them. But I mean Bobichet 289, Vladdy 292. He's got 14 home runs. You got George Springer who always finds a way to get it on. 18 home runs, 293, 57 RBIs. Alejandro Kirk is 304. But I mean the pitching is what's getting them there. I mean, you've got Kevin Gausman, he's 7-7, but that ERA 3.82. You got Chris Bassett 11-4, 3.88 ERA. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I think you got to pitching's always there. You always got to add pitching. Going into that, the other team in the AL East, my Yankees, they've been terrible since they've been back from the All-Star break and going before the All-Star break. 57-48, 4-6 in the last 10. Did end up winning today, thank God, but lost 5 out of 6 to the Blue Jays, lost 2 out of 3 to the Phillies today. Aaron Judge goes down. You do get Ryan McMahon in the mid Rosario, but they're going to have to still be active at the deadline. If that's going to be a starting pitcher, I don't think they get a starting pitcher. I think they identify the bullpen. They need some bullpen arms, and I mean I think the Twins will be one of them. Ben Darner's been one of a guy there that I've heard. I think those are good names. Maybe Santana. If Noah comes back, if Noah comes back, in my opinion, if Nolan gets back to form, that's a nasty rotation. If Nolan can get back to the form that we've seen Aaron Nola, if he comes back, it's nasty. Wheeler, Nola, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and Ranger Suarez. That's a nasty rotation. And that, I mean, if Nola can get back to form, definitely. So, I mean, the Phillies are that's what they're hoping for because I said it before we got that this division is just going to be a 1-2 man race and it's going to be back and forth, and it is definitely back and forth for the Phillies. I mean, they're a game back, but I mean, back and forth. We got the Giants going right now, 1-1 against Giants Mets, 1-1. Senga on the mound in the bottom of the fourth, excuse me. But if Noah can get back to form, definitely, I think the Phillies got it. But that's a big if because he looked very shaky right off the bat. But continuing with my Yankees, I mean, Cody Bellinger's been a godsend, 282, having great, 19 home runs, 58 RBIs. 58 RBIs, Volpe 215. Don't get me started. I could yell about Anthony Volpe for days. I'm not trying to rag on this poor kid, but I am getting done with the constant. Volpe's a great a starting MLB shortstop. His defense has taken ever since his first year showed some signs, had great defense, very good defense, Gold Glove shortstop. Second year, bat started getting better. I had some hope going into the year because he's had a good October and definitely had a good Dodgers series, played good against the Dodgers in the World Series. So I had some hope going in, but I don't know what it is. As a Yankees fan, I'm done with them. The guys we passed up because of Anthony Volpe from Cody, from Corey Seager to Dansby Swanson because they had high hopes on Volpe. I don't know. I'm kind of done, but as a Yankees fan, we're stuck with them. There's nowhere to go. So I just got to pray. Hope he can get to like a 240 consistent and pick up the defense because that was, the one part. You got Goldschmidt 287, needs to play first every day. The guy's just a defensive wall there, gets everything done. Grisham 252. Dominguez 254. Ben Rice, just got to continue to platoon there behind the plate. 229. Austin Wells 217. Jazz 251. We'll see if Oswald Peraza stays. I think he ends up going down. He could just stay as a pinch hitter. So I don't know what it is. I wish Oswaldo Cabrera would come back, but it looks like with the way he fractured his ankle, he's done. But it's coming down to this. The Yankees, the bullpen's been terrible. Rodon had a solid game today. He went 5 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. Free got beat up a little bit in there, but errors. They made 7 errors in that series. Will Warren looked okay for a little bit. I don't see them adding a starting pitcher. And if you're in the comments, the Yankees fans out there, I don't see a starting pitcher. I see the next thing we identify as a Yankees fan is bullpen, and I could see Bendar. I could see Dennis Santana. I don't think we make a trade with the guy from Baltimore. He's not going anywhere. Guy I would love would be Class A, but I don't think we have the Class A or Helsley. I don't think we have the pieces to get that done, as they've already, Lombard Jr.'s a no-go, and it sounds like Spencer Jones is a no-go too. So, hopefully they can just keep it close until Judge comes back, but it's not been good. But bullpen is where they got to identify. Going into AL Central, Detroit's definitely starting to take a little, step back. Didn't have too good, 61-46, but 2-8 in the last 10. I see them. I think Detroit. Looking at Detroit has a lot of. They need a third baseman, so I think Detroit's going to be heavily in on Suarez. I think they're in on him. I know they're going to be on him. I think a starting pitcher would be a name they got to identify for them. And, what route do they go? Because there's some good starting pitchers on there. And, with the Mitch Keller, but that's going to cost a lot for Keller because he's got a, 7-year deal and he's still got 6. Would you want to trade a McGonnell or a Max Clark or a Bryce Rainier, who are, high guys? high prospects. Clark and McConnell both were in the future game for Keller. You also got names like Edward Cabrera from the Marlins. You also got Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins. There's a lot of pitchers. I would go for more of the route of the rental for there. Maybe you hit up if you could get a a two player deal with the Diamondbacks, adding either a Merritt Kelly or a Zach Gallen. I think you got to go with that. Yes, if you get a two player, but with the Suarez, because was it McKinney's been good, but is he good enough to be a regular third baseman? Would he better be suited in that McKinstry, excuse me, in that 266? Would he be better suited for that utility role? You definitely need him in the lineup, but I think he'd be better suited for that. But I mean, on the pitching side, minus Tarek Skubal, you need a number two. So I'd be looking at Gallen. I'd be looking at Kelly from Arizona and trying to package them with Suarez. Going into the AL East, we got the Astros, who were 4-6 in the last 10 on a 4-game losing streak, 60-46. I think the bullpen's definitely where they got to go. They're doing it. They're piecing it all together. Suarez would be a name, especially because Paredes is down with a bad hamstring. So that's a name to watch for them. Also getting into that starting pitcher market. Going to the NL East, which the NL East is back and forth. And on the NL East, we're going to talk a little later about that surprise team, what they end up doing, which will not be winning the NL East. But, I mean, you got the Mets. Mets definitely need, 61-44. Right now they're a game up. They're playing right now. Bottom of the fourth, man on second, Wisely up 2-2. So right now a game up on the Phillies. But Mets definitely need to add a center fielder. And do they try to there's a couple names I see with the Mets trying to add. They need to add a center fielder, as Tyrone Taylor's not going to get it done. Would they try to reunite and hit up the Twins with Harrison Bader? I mean, the Jose Siri thing didn't work out. He hasn't been healthy. Taylor's 204. Would they try to reunite? Maybe. And the Twins got some bullpen pieces available. So I think they got to add center field. You got to add a bullpen piece. Center field being the biggest one for them. They need a center fielder. I think Bader would be a good pickup. I don't think Bader would cost a lot for the Mets. They wouldn't have to give up any of their top prospects for Bader. That's where I would go. Going into the NL Central, we got right now the Cubs are 62-43. Brewers are 62-43. Cubs are 6-4 in the last 10. They're on a 2-game heater, 2-game winning streak. Brewers are 62-43, 7-3 in the last 10, but did lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. Cubs will be a name. Cubs will be a name to watch because Cubs need starting pitching bad. They need pitching bad. And they could be in on the Suarez market is really hefty. They could be in on that because Matt Shaw's doing a serviceable job for the Cubbies. But I think they could be in on that Suarez market. I think they need more of a consistent bat at third base and that pop that would add straight to that lineup would have nasty pop. So I mean, but on the starting pitcher market, you could go Cabrera with the Marlins, who still got years of control, is having a really solid year, 3.48 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, immense arm talent. You could hit up the Royals, who look like they could be buying, maybe selling. With Seth Lugo would be another good one. Maybe a Dylan Cease, which the Padres seem to be open to moving Cease. Or a Zach Gallen or Alcantara are two names. I think the one thing with Alcantara is is having a down year, so I don't think his do you want to sell low on him? I don't know, but it's back and forth with the Cubs and the Brewers. I think Brewers are the same thing. They got to get pitching. They might go that third base route, which Suarez will be the hottest name once it comes Wednesday, Thursday, which we'll be back on Wednesdays at 7:30 or 8. We'll get that locked down after this, but I'm gonna be back doing some trade deadline updates there on Wednesdays. Get back to my regular Wednesdays and continue to try to do the Sundays, but it's going to be interesting. Suarez is going to be the hot name. I think the Diamondbacks will be really, really active. So they'll be interesting too. Going into the NL West, which luckily for the Dodgers is the Padres are kind of slipping up when they could narrow the gap. The Giants are definitely, who started off really hot, kind of, came back down to earth. It seems like the Diamondbacks are sellers. They're 61-45, 4-6 in the last 10, but they lost they've lost two in a row. You got swept by the Brewers. Let me pull up. 2 out of 3 to the Twins. Swept by the Brewers. Okay, they took the series from the Twins. Lost 2 out of 3 to Boston. They got Cincinnati coming up. Cincinnati's a name to watch for Suarez too, who was with Cincinnati as well too. Played with Cincinnati and got DFA'd there. But I mean, I think they're feasting off of a weaker NL West right now, and they need outfield. They need pitching. Their pitching is way down, but they need outfield. You got Michael Conforto, your left fielder, is batting 194. Third base is there, but I think outfield for them is the biggest one. Do they go a Cedric Mullins? But the name I've been hearing for the Dodgers is them trying to package and get Emmanuel Clase, because they need bullpen help, and Stephen Kwan, who Clase is still under control. Stephen Kwan has like 2 or 3 more years of arbitration eligibility, but that would cost a lot if you'd add Stephen Kwan to that. It would cost top prospect Alex Freeland, shortstop, third baseman. Maybe he's a 2025 guy, so maybe he comes up now. It would probably cost a left-handed pitcher, Jackson Farias. It would cost, most likely, it would cost a Dalton Rushing too. So I don't know where they go there, but they definitely need to add pitching and outfield. I think that pitching market, the Class A one is definitely one to watch, what they would give up. One thing I've been seeing about the Dodgers is, are they Dustin May, who's going to be a free agent next year? Maybe they try to trade Dustin May for either prospects or a bullpen piece that would help someone out in the bullpen. I would take Dustin May as a Yankees fan, but I don't know that going into. I'm really surprised going into the year. Dodgers had about 10 starting pitchers, and I'm like, that bullpen is the strength because we saw the World Series. The bullpen for the Dodgers was the strength. Uh, and the bullpen is the weakness. Starting pitcher is not getting it done. So, I mean, I think you got to identify starting pitcher and outfield as one outfield 1A, 1B reliever, even though third base could be an area you got to identify for the Dodgers. All right. It's going to be a fun trade deadline. That's all we got to say. I think Suarez is going to be there. I think the Diamondbacks are going to be really active. I think that. I mean, I know we got some Orioles fans. Who the Orioles want to get rid of? Because I mean, I think they got to give some of these young guys some run. With was it Samuel? Is it Basallo? I think he needs some run. Cody Mayo needs some run. So I think they got to get rid of some players because they're way out of there. Now we'll give a little South Florida a little love, who's playing really good of late, and that's the Miami Marlins, who are making a tear. They're 50-54, 7-3 in the last 10. And it'll be really interesting to see what the Marlins do at the deadline because, I mean, right now they're only out of the third wild card spot in the NL. The Marlins are only 6 games back of the Padres. So it's still in reach, but they have a lot of guys that they could ship. But, I mean, personally for me, I love what the Marlins last year, and I think they're still maybe, 1 or 2 years what they did last year when they got Robbie Snelling from there, who's going to be a solid pitcher. But you add Kyle Stowers, who is an all-star who's just hitting the cover off the ball, and you add Connor Norby, he's down, he's injured right now. I think what they did was solid. So, I mean, if I was the Marlins, I wouldn't go full sell because I think this team and these young players for the Marlins, because I know we had some Marlins fans on there. AJ from East 10th Street Boys, my boy Q is my other half of College Blitz Marlins guy, my producer Bobby Marlins guy. I think this team, these young guys, shortened the window of being maybe a postseason team because we're seeing a lot of these young guys. And I know I've spoken to some of those guys. These young guys are just playing because they got nothing to lose. No one thought the Marlins are 4 games under 500. I didn't think it would happen, but I wouldn't go a full snap. I mean, I think what they did last year, I really liked what they did last year. When you add Stowers, who was an MLB-ready talent, who couldn't, or Stowers, MLB-ready talent, but couldn't get the time on the field. You add Norby, who's the same thing, MLB-ready talent, but couldn't get time on the field. And then you get Agustin Ramirez, who's this, who probably wouldn't have seen time with the Yankees. I would have loved to have him with the Yankees, but I mean, Stowers, 299, 23 home runs, 63 RBIs, 379 on base percentage. I mean, so I think you don't go a full sell. I think you trade a couple players you could get rid of and get a big haul. And I think you're going to get hit up by the Cubs. I wouldn't trade Sandy Alcantara just because his value is going down. I think, yes, he had that great start versus the Padres. Very good start, but, I mean, 6.66 ERA. Whoa, what I just didn't sound good when I said that one. Especially it's a Sunday. But I think his value's down. Maybe you let him bring that value back up a little bit if he continues on this, and you could get more there. I would go Cabrera. And if the Cubs come knocking, they got some guys who could see some time. Moises Ballesteros, catcher, first baseman. He's a 21 years old. You need a first baseman in the future. Kevin Alcantara, outfielder, he's also MLB ready. I think they got a lot of guys who are there. Also, Jesus Sanchez would be another guy who would be a guy you could ship 259, so he could definitely help one of those teams who needs outfield help, like the Phillies, like the Dodgers need outfield help. You could poach, but if I was the Marlins, I'd go MLB ready talent like they did last year. That's where I am. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Josh, thank you for tuning in. A little Phillies talk. Going to be back on Wednesday, either 7:30 or 8 p.m. Eastern time, talking some more trade deadline news. Hopefully we have some more stuff going on, but definitely previewing that because Thursday is going to be wild. Ready for that. Want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. Remember, like and subscribe. Definitely subscribe to FTSN page. This is On Deck. I'm Russ Morgan on FTSN. I hope everybody has a great night.